Following a prolonged period of anticipation, the return of One Piece has finally graced us. Chapter 1087, titled Battleship Bag, showcases a cover page depicting Ace in the company of capybaras, even taking the initiative to warm their bathwater. The chapter commences by unveiling the coastal ship scrapyard at the Marines G1 headquarters. Commodore Brand New finds himself in the midst of elucidating a concept known as the Battleship Bag to Lieutenant Commander Django and Lieutenant Commander Fullbody. Evidently, these dilapidated ships were repurposed as substitutes for traditional sandbags. The final detail appeared to astonish Django even further. Fullbody questioned the rationale behind having two ships. Brand New further explained that the second ship was reserved for Garp's pupil, the individual who once held the position of Admiral Aokiji. Adding to the impressiveness, Garp imposed a distinct rule for their training. The use of devilfruit abilities was strictly prohibited when employing the battleship bag. Additionally, the use of haki abilities was also off the table. Brand New emphasized that the prowess of these two heroes was not inherent. Their attained strength resulted from their unwavering dedication and persistent efforts in their daily training routine. Subsequently, the narrative shifts to the pirate island of Hachinosu. San Juan Wolf had collided with the depths of the water, yet his immense size prevented him from being fully submerged at such a distance. Garp had previously forcefully launched him away, a remarkably impressive achievement that left many pirates on the island greatly intimidated. As San Juan Wolf was a devil fruit user, his contact with water had rendered him incapacitated in the battle. Despite his colossal size making complete submersion impossible, there was an urgent need to swiftly raise him to the surface to prevent his suffocation due to oxygen deprivation. Regrettably, the method to achieve this for such a massive entity remained unknown to them. Vasco's action taunted Garp's status as a legendary hero, accompanied by his casual consumption of a drink. In the subsequent moment, he unleashed a fiery breath attack towards the aging legend, marking yet another fire-based ability introduced to the repertoire of abilities in the world of One Piece. With a detached demeanor, Garp lifted three already weary pirate ruffians and employed them as human shields to deflect the ongoing assault. He displayed a complete lack of reaction as they were engulfed in flames. Recognizing Vasco's relentless assault, Garp persistently seized additional pirates to shield himself from the onslaught. Subsequently, he propelled each of them in varying directions, intensifying the chaos and confusion. Naturally, this situation greatly agitated Abello Pizarro, an inhabitant of the island, causing him profound distress due to the rampant devastation. And he wasn't alone in his sentiment. Numerous additional pirate crew members also came to a realization: should Blackbeard discover his island in such disarray upon his return, they would face a severe and merciless retribution. Observing the immense grin on Garp's countenance, they were left bewildered by his apparent lack of concern for their overwhelming numerical advantage. His demeanor was undeniably intimidating. Subsequently, Rear Admiral Kujaku initiated communication with Garp. She relayed that the previously held captive civilians and wounded Marines had successfully embarked on their journey at sea. In the background, Captain Tashiji was offering support to Commander Hibari, urging her to regain her composure. On the ship, instructions were being issued to thaw out those who had been frozen by Aokiji, with Captain Tashiji overseeing the process. Simultaneously, the previously captive individuals expressed worry about Captain Koby's well-being. Rear Admiral Kujaku then provided assurance that they had obtained clearance to depart whenever they deemed appropriate. Upon receiving this information, Garp vociferously commanded the remaining troops to cease their actions and prepare to depart. Koby, Groose, and Helmipo all concurred with this decision. However, in a fitting manner for a location named Pirate Island, the influx of reinforcements appeared unending. Yet, emerging from the swirling smoke, stood a singular figure with unwavering determination to prevent Garp from departing, his former student, Aokiji. Witnessing their dire circumstances, Helmipo found himself regretting the choice he had made to remain behind rather than joining the others in leaving. The gravity of the situation and the imminent danger were glaringly evident. Conversely, Rear Admiral Prince Groose held a more pressing concern: whether Garp deemed him as part of the future of the Marines, akin to Koby. Garp chose not to offer a response to Groose, yet he acknowledged his former protégé's determination to persevere in the battle. Meanwhile, Koby issued a clear warning to everyone, advising them to exercise caution when facing the officers of the Blackbeard Pirates. This cautionary statement would soon take on a sense of irony, given the impending events. Garp issued a resolute command to his remaining comrades, urging them to sprint towards the coast with all their might. He assured them that once they reached that point, they would be safe. He reinforced this with a directive for them to stay alive, a sentiment to which they all assented. However, as Koby embarked on his run, he caught wind of a woman's anguished cry, pleading for assistance. Realizing that there were still abducted civilians on the island whom they had overlooked, Koby promptly reversed his course to offer aid. He felt a sense of relief that their departure had not yet occurred, affording him the opportunity to assist another individual. In response, Rear Admiral Prince Grush chastised his junior for falling into such a blatant trap. The female pirate responsible for the cry now laughed mockingly, leaving Koby bewildered and prompting Garp to spring into immediate action. Now holding back an unseen assailant, the heroic Vice Admiral was pierced through the abdomen by a lengthy blade as young Koby tumbled over. As blood trailed from his mouth, seeing the other end of the sword protruding from his master's back, Koby couldn't make sense of what was before him. With determination, Garp drew his fist back with force, then drove it downward onto the enigmatic assailant with all his available strength. The adversary was felled, bloody yet audibly laughing. It was Shiryu. Garp identified him as the instigator from impelled down. In that instant, Koby came to understand that the enemy possessed the ability of invisibility, accounting for their elusive nature. The nearby pirates expressed their satisfaction upon witnessing Shiryu's involvement in the conflict. More than that, they celebrated his successful act of stabbing the once unshaken hero. Helmeppo and Groose both reacted with shock and dismay. Despite his injury, Garp asserted that he was unharmed and implored them to make their way to the ship. Koby's anguish was palpable as he recognized that the situation was a result of his actions. He realized that Garp had absorbed the blow to shield him. Garp scolded Koby for blaming himself, emphasizing that Shiryu had aimed for him intentionally. Now weakened by the injury, Garp became a target for the seemingly endless wave of pirates who surged forward, convinced that an opportunity to defeat him had presented itself. The prospect of seizing such a unique opportunity drove the pirates to surpass their prior apprehensions and set their sights on capturing him. The bounty placed on Vice Admiral Garp by the Cross Guild was an exceptional sum of 3 crowns. This amount is equivalent to what would be offered for defeating an admiral, totaling nearly 3 billion berries. Rushing forward with determination, Aokiji instructed the lesser opponents to clear his path. He asserted that even if Garp were restrained in both arms and legs, individuals of their caliber would be incapable of ending his life. Aokiji retracted his fist, now charged with icy power, as he surged ahead. Garp's grin persisted as he reminisced about days gone by. During his own prime as a young man, he encountered a fledgling Aokiji who aspired to become his student. Garp was resistant to the idea, unwilling to have his autonomy taken from him in any manner. Garp advised the young Aokiji to pursue education under the guidance of marine instructors. However, Aokiji persisted, asserting that he had exhausted the teachings of the instructors and aimed to ascend to a higher level of skill. Aokiji once more implored Garp to take him on as a student. Garp, resolute in his stance, sternly ordered the boy to cease his requests and depart. Yet, this standoff didn't endure for much longer. Soon after, the scene shifted to show both Garp and Aokiji vigorously striking the fronts of dilapidated battleships. Garp issued a demand that Aokiji refrained from employing haki during their training, asserting that it would undermine the purpose of their practice. This assertion was indeed bold. At that juncture, Aokiji had yet to develop his haki abilities. The two of them engaged in this activity for an extended period of time. Aokiji was present even when Garp acknowledged that his own son had become a revolutionary. There was a time when Luffy expressed his intent to become a pirate, leading Garp to convey this news with frustration to Aokiji, affirming his disapproval. Nevertheless, their camaraderie persisted, evident in the fact that Garp extended an invitation to Aokiji to share a meal together. The bond between them endured, despite their differences. Aokiji maintained that his obligations as an admiral kept him occupied, but Garp brushed aside his excuse and instructed him to prepare the tea. In the current moment, their gaze locked as Aokiji remarked that Garp had nurtured a truly troublesome adversary. Garp retorted by reminding Aokiji of his disaffiliation from the Marines, labeling him an imprudent student. In response, the two individuals exchanged powerful blows to each other's faces. The aftermath of this clash had dire consequences, causing both of them to be forcefully propelled backward over a considerable distance. Koby's voice rang out in concern for the Vice Admiral as he witnessed this exchange. Subsequently, Villa Pizarro began to chuckle to himself. Villa Pizarro would mockingly inform the gullible Marines that their chances of escaping were exceedingly slim. He emphasized that they were on Hachinosu, an island populated by pirates. In his analogy, he likened the situation to poking a beehive, with a swarm of pirates ready to surge forth if provoked. With taunting skepticism, Villa questioned whether the Marines honestly believed that their departing ship was genuinely secure. Continuing his taunts, Villa warned them against underestimating the influence of the island's unique fruit ability. Meanwhile, on the ship, Ibari's consciousness began to clear. Despite still enduring extreme cold, she questioned the whereabouts of Koby. She apologized for feeling like a burden. Rear Admiral Kujaku reassured her, asserting that the rest of the group would return shortly and expressing relief that Ibari was safe and sound. At that very moment, two members of their group caught sight of an approaching presence. Villa Pizarro was in high spirits, expressing his weariness of newspapers consistently spotlighting Blackbeard's achievements. He shared the sentiment that the other members of their crew also desired recognition. With this in mind, Villa confidently predicted that the headlines in tomorrow's newspaper would take on a significantly altered tone. According to his assertion, the headline would depict the well-known Vice Admiral Garp and his assembly of accomplished young troops who had united in a valiant effort to rescue the Marine hero Captain Koby, meeting a tragic end on the pirate-infested island of Hachinosu. Extending his massive arm toward the ship, Villa Pizarro declared that the calamitous outcome was a consequence of the formidable might wielded by him, the fourth ship captain of the Blackbeard Pirates. Koby found himself in a state of panic, imploring the adversary to cease his actions.